Okay. Oh, hey. I'm like going, where is everybody? Let me turn on the little brighter. There we go. Okay. Just want to give folks a chance to get here. And hello. Hope that people, I don't know, anybody here tonight? Just want to see if y'all are coming in. Humanimal, you're here. Yay. Good to see you. Good to see you. Anisha. What is it? Antesha. Ooh. Hello. Hi. Okay. Hey, LB. Hi. Thanks, Benjamin. Missy. Hi, Margie. Just giving everybody a chance to kind of get here. I am doing well this evening. Here's my little, I'm in front of my little subscribe pillow. Gavin has been carrying it around all day. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Humanimal. It's good to be home. Hi, Pam, Alicia. Good to see you guys. You know, I was thinking about my Friday Night Live broadcast, and I read, I did a broadcast, I guess 2 days ago now, and it was, what happened was I didn't get a chance to see all the chat. And so thank you, is it Michelle? Thank God it's Friday, right, Benjamin? So I didn't get a chance to kind of answer everybody's questions. And as I reviewed the feed, I started noticing that a lot of people were asking about tarot. And they were saying, oh, tell us about your cards. And I thought, oh, I don't really talk about that too much. So what I thought I would do tonight is talk about some of the tools of tarot and share with you all some of the things that I've learned from it and why I don't feel that it is evil. Terry, good to see you. So yeah, I just decided to jump on. I'm working on videos and I'm finishing up a proposal for a new book, and we just sent out a big email to my list about because I'm doing readings next week, and we're doing okay, LB, we're going to talk tarot. So just as a question, how many of you actually are familiar with a little bit with tarot? Let's see. I do personal readings, Leslie, and I actually have, as of tonight, I have a 30% off my readings sale going on. I wish I had the link. Okay, but what you can do is email support at Tori Hartman, and I'll put that up at the end. But if you email support at Tori Hartman, I'm only doing them next week, and I'm offering 30% off on my price, which is, I don't really do that much, but it's also because I'm doing it because I need to raise a little money for my Owen. So I'm doing that. So it's kind of like a quick thing. Ooh, all right. Nikki, you are very good at tarot. Thank you, Destiny. Good to see you guys. And yes, to answer your question, I do, Leslie, I do personal readings. And let's see, I know about it, but don't understand what the cards mean. I think it's a tool. Got it. Yes, I have your new tarot. Yay, Alicia. Thank you, Nola Chick. Is that, New Orleans? I don't know. Let's see, I don't think tarot's evil, and I'm Catholic. So I said this on a radio show, and I think I freaked a lot of people out, because they were like, you can't say that. And I was like, well, I just did. But, how I feel about tarot is this. I think tarot can be people go, oh, it's evil. And I'm like, well, you know what? In the wrong hands, a gun, a tarot deck, or the Bible can be evil. So we can look at anything as being evil. So let's talk about what cards are and how I got into them. And I think that the first thing I want to say, and Nikki, like you're a novice. Well, you know what, Nikki, you're actually very good. You have a very natural quality with tarot, and I know this because I actually, Nikki was in a class, the class I just did a few weeks ago, and I got to work with you a little. So I think what happens is, because somebody wrote me a note and said, not everybody is intuitive, not everybody's psychic, and I said, that's not true. it's kind of like you're only going to get what you focus on. So, for example, if a police officer focuses on his or her training, then they're going to be really good at when they've trained and then they let go that training because they're on the street and they've got to respond to things going on. So anything that is working with your intuition, it's like working out. It's a muscle. It's an energetic muscle, if you will. And we talk so much now about energy. And let me put it this way to everybody. You know, we would be blind if we didn't say there was a lot of like crazy bullying going on. And as if you wouldn't know that it's like, it's kind of like the emperor's new clothes, where people are going, yeah, that's a really beautiful outfit, or that's just really horrible clothing. And you're like, you're both wrong. It's like, so I think what's happening is we're seeing through the shite in ways we haven't before. So I'm going to talk about, let's see. So tell me a little about me and let's see how good you are. Oh, Nikki, go ahead. You're so funny. Okay, thank you, Terry. Could you do a reading for insight into the truth concerning Chris Watts? I'll tell you why I don't want to do that, and bear with me, Debbie. I appreciate the question. The only reason I don't want to do that is because I kind of agreed that I wasn't going to do anything that I felt would distress Shanann or her family. And I think that without them asking me to do it, I kind of feel like it's a little, little bit, invasive. But thank you for that. And I will be pulling some cards. Let's see. Michelle said, I get vibes from people. And if I get a bad, it's all about the vibes, right? Let's face it. People dating, they go, oh, we had chemistry, or, oh, we don't have chemistry. It's all about vibes. It's all about energy. And yeah, I know you do, Debbie. Thank you. So let's talk about what, where I come from with this. So when I grew up, ready for a little story? I want to give you my little background on this. When I grew up, from the time I was 5, my mother told me I had no command of the language. Now, a 5-year-old, right? But she wrote all my papers. Some of you know the story, but she wrote all my papers growing up, and until she died when I was 15. And I always got like an A or B. Upset her when she got a B, but I was told to take dictation from her. I had to write down word for word what she told me. And I got very good at writing down what I heard and listening to it. What happened was, years and years and years later, after my near-death experience, I really understood that when the angels came through to tell me about the Chakra Wisdom Oracle, I'm going to talk about the difference between Oracle and Tarot. The Oracle cards, they told me these stories, and I wrote down word for word because I was uniquely qualified by my personal wounding to do this. So stay with that for a minute. Let's go back to my childhood. Now, you can imagine in my house, I was forbidden from talking, telling stories. Now, you can imagine what a storyteller I am. It's like, that's all I do is tell stories because I love them. But I was not allowed. My mother was the writer. And what's interesting is that as a result, I learned from an early age I could just pick up a card and I would make up a story because the cards saved me. The cards were kind of like my sanity in a crazy alcoholic home when everything was going wrong. The one thing I could do is pick up a card and tell you what was going right. And I want to say to you right now that your wounding becomes your purpose. It is the one thing that you know better than anything else, and you will help and guide others through that journey. So that, I'm going to give you a little bit of that, and that I'm a storyteller. I love it. Patty, good for you. Let's see. Yes. I know my services, I don't even want to say too much. Okay. So, hi, Rosanna. Good to see you. And I think, Lexi, you can be a good reader of people. I think that, let's see, my deck got stolen and I haven't been able to replace it. I want to go back to it, but don't know how to go about it. Okay, wounding gives compassion, if not bitter. Yeah, it does give compassion, but one of the things I want to say is that most of us are bitter about our wounding, Patty, and I'm glad you brought this up. Most of us are. I mean, honestly, it took me years with the bitterness around my mom. And I think a lot of people try to do what I call a spiritual bypass. They kind of go, oh, it's okay, I'm fine. And, I'll get people call me and they'll go, oh, I'm really fine. They'll call me, this will be the thing. And they'll be doing a session with me and they'll say, I just want you to know, yes, I was fired from my job, but I want to know when my new job is coming because I'm over that. And I go, when were you fired? And they'll be like, 3 days ago. But I'm good. It was meant to be. I'm not bothered by it. I'm totally good. And I go, I don't believe you. I'm like, what? I go, I absolutely don't believe you. I think you're mad as hell. And there's this, well, no, I need it. And all of a sudden the panic comes out. See, the real feeling is, see, how we relate to the issue is the issue. So it's not the card that's the issue. It's the feeling that's going on. So bear with me. So I said to this particular client, you're mad as hell. And she's like, I'm not, I'm fine. I'm just trying to tell you. I'm like, honey, you're arguing for your limitation. And so if how we relate to the issue is the issue, what is the upset about? So I want y'all to breathe. And I want you not to listen to me. I want you to follow me. And this is what card reading is. Card reading is going into the deep place within where we can support other people in allowing their own truth to come forward. Not mine, not yours, but the person that we're with. Now, I wrote a book called How to Read the Cards for Yourself and Others. And in the beginning of that book, whether you read my deck or not, or the decks I've done, there are tools I talk about, and those are extremely valuable. So what you said, Patty, is great, and I think that what we're talking about, when people are, wounded, I think that there's this tendency to create a spiritual bypass, and this is when I got to that with this woman, and I'm going to talk about a mastermind story too, and then I'm going to show you some cards and we're going to talk about them. But one of the things that happens, and I think that when I talked to her like that, she said, well, okay, so I'm upset about it, but I'm really like in this place of I'm over it. And I'm like, you know what? Can we just back up? And she was like, okay. I go, I just want you to know it's okay to be hurt and mad and in upset. When you're in a state. And it's funny because I'm working on the blue cards right now for the free toolkit journey on this channel. And I just talked about that, about, the state we choose to be in, the energetic state. And I think one of the things that happens is that sometimes we're really too smart for ourselves. And I hear like this one woman was like, well, but I need a job. And I said, wait. Because from this energy, you're only going to create what you had. And this is where the psychic part comes in. And I said, if I may, let's look at what you had energetically. You had a situation where somebody disrespected you enough to fire you because you were not happy there. And then you get to blame them for your unhappiness. Would that be accurate? And she was like, yeah, that is accurate. I said, so the issue is, unless we look at that issue, right, energetically together, you're going to just go get another job and create the same circumstance. Because as we know from therapy, everybody, because I know all of you listening are smart, because let me tell you something, you guys aren't dum-dums. This is not like, you're not listening to this tonight because you're like, what? You get, right, from therapy and all of this stuff. Most of my clients are like this, pretty smart people, right? But the thing is that we're so full of what we know. It's like the Buddha thing where the Buddha expert, and don't worry, I'll bring all this together. I want you to drop your shoulders. And right now, we're in the energetic world. We're not in the brain. I want you to let go of the brain. And I want you to trust that you're on an energetic spiritual journey with me, right? So just drop your shoulders. Okay. Here's what I want to say to you. So an expert who knew everything about Buddha goes to Buddha and says, oh, I just love your work, your holiness. And, I want to tell you all about what, and he started telling Buddha everything he knows. And Buddha says, would you like some tea? And the expert says, of course. So Buddha starts to pour the tea, and you've probably heard the story. And the tea comes up, and the the visitor is telling Buddha everything he knows, and the tea is filling up the cup, and it's overflowing, and it's going into the cup, and all of a sudden it's on the table, and the guy is still saying, and you've done this and this. Well, okay, you've got to stop. And Buddha says, you are much like this teacup. You're so full of what you know. There's no room for anything to go in. So when we talk about cards and we talk about intuition, we must come to the table with the empty mind. Now, the difference between your brain and your intuition is that your brain is always trying to protect you. So your brain is always going to go, oh no, that's stupid, or that doesn't work. And it takes a breath to kind of go, okay, I'm going to get this. So when I say this to you, if your brain's sole purpose is to protect you, and your intuition is sending you messages, how do you see them? Well, they're cryptic. And they're not going to be face value. Remember when we were kids and we'd write cryptic notes to each other, or remember when we'd move words around or, letters, because we'd write in Morse code to each other. And that was so the adults didn't get it. Well, a lot of times I didn't get it, but still we'd write these secret messages. Your intuition is sending you secret messages. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. So we're going to look at some cards, and we're going to talk about the idea behind what we're seeing in various cards. And so tonight I'm going to use a little bit of the Chakra Wisdom Tarot. I just want to see, because let me see the most. Let's see. Okay, great post, Patty. I'm just looking to see if anybody, thank you, Patty. Yeah, Patty said something interesting about compassion and bitterness with wounding. And one of the things I want to say is that we spend our life, our brain spends our life trying to avoid our wounding. So what happens? You see, the minute something looks like our wounding, our brain goes, get out, danger, Will Robinson, run, and your intuition is going, hey, it's just about to get good. Where are you going? It's gonna get good. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to trust your intuition. This is the best news of all, Antisha. I am promising you. Here's the thing. You do not ever have to trust your intuition. How about that? What if I said that to you? Exactly, Dawn, aren't we all? We're all deeply wounded. I don't know anybody who hasn't been deeply wounded, and even those who are not deeply wounded. They are people that live, and by the way, I know somebody who's not deeply, I know one person, and I want to say this, he is the most amazing human, and he walks through Earth really happy, and we don't really know what his sexual preference is at all. He's just this amazing human, and everybody loves him, and he opens doors that would never be open to anybody because he's got this magical presence. That's the goal. So let me just take a look. Okay, so Destiny just said, my brain is usually the rational voice that says my intuition is just me being silly, but funny enough, my intuition is almost always correct. Well, it is pretty much always correct if you're really listening to your intuition. Yes, okay. So let's talk about brain and intuition, right? So one of the things that happens when we're reading cards, I'm going to give you like one of my best tips, okay? So I want you to imagine that when you're playing with cards and you're looking at your intuition, one of the things that happens is that we can be, and by the way, this is with any spiritual tool, you will always have a moment when you don't know what the hell to do. How about that? Even years of reading, right? I've had years of reading cards. I started really when I was a kid. But, one of the things that you're going to get to understand in this conversation is that, and yes, I will pull cards. Okay. Your intuition is like the internet. It's on. But you know how when you look on your computer, or you can look at the amount of bars that it has, right? And you ever had a moment when, and well, we've had it here on YouTube, when the internet just drops and you're like, oh, great. And then you struggle to get back. That happens in the middle of a card reading. Anybody ever feel that if you've ever played with cards or tried to read them or scared yourself with tarot or the Gypsy Witch card deck or any of them? If you've had that happen, anybody ever get stuck during a card reading? Perfect. Thank you. So if you've gotten stuck during a card reading, what happens is this. When you start a reading, your intuition is going. And you've done a meditation where you brought down the white light and you've stepped into, and I have meditations for that and I'll share that with you guys later. But, and this, by the way, I'm giving you ideas, but the actual teaching stuff is a different thing, but I am going to give you a lot here in this moment. So your internet's on, okay? Well, over here, your brain is kind of like going, oh, yeah, this is good. I love this like white light thing. It's really nice. And your internet's going, yeah. And the reading starts and you pull a couple cards and you're on it. Boom, boom. And all of a sudden the internet goes down. And that's when you forget what you're doing. Have you ever woken up in the morning and forgot where you were or forgot who you were? That's your intuitive internet going out. And what do you do when you forget who you are in the morning or you have morning hands and can't open the window? Well, you have to wait, right? You wait till the internet goes back up. You wait until you remember who you were. You wait. Right, exactly. That disorientation, what happens in that space when we're disoriented during a reading? Brain comes in and goes, oh, I got to look good. Because your brain's sole purpose is to make you look good and to protect you, right? So it's kind of that. So your brain comes in and goes, okay, now. And all of a sudden, and I've seen this with readers, all of a sudden they're going, and they forget where they are. So they go, well, it looks like you need vitamin B, or you seem to have this. And all of a sudden they're off on some advice tangent. I do not believe in giving people advice. I think it is the most dangerous thing we can do. And I think that because I think you have your own answer. And I see my job as being a conduit to you stepping back into your own faith, whatever that looks like for you. And so a lot of the tools I teach and work with are really about you realigning you with your own intuitive wisdom. And that's the idea behind it. Now, sadly, just so you know, and I think you guys will get this, you know, the fact that I labeled this tarot, there'll be very few people who actually watch it. Yet, don't you think that this information is really just intuitive information that we need for life anyway? So what do you do when your internet goes down during a reading or when you don't know what to do? See, this is where the tool of working with your intuition comes in, because what you do is you sit back and you go, and this is what I'll say to a client, hold on, I've just lost where I was. Or I'll say, give me a minute. And you know what? My client will wait. Because I'm waiting for the internet to kick back in, you know? And, you know, it's really, you know, that 30 seconds when you unplug the box, the internet, and then you plug it back in and you're like, it felt like 2 hours because you're waiting for it to happen. But for 30 seconds is really not that much time. Yet when we have been in an intuitive state and we come back to our brain, it feels like 4 hours and we get anxious and all of a sudden our brain starts to fill the void. So what you do when your internet goes down, this is where the training of reading cards comes in. It's just like, you know, what do you do if an IV pops out? If you're a nurse or a doctor or working in the hospital and somebody's IV pops out, well, you know, I wouldn't know what to do. Some of you would, but I wouldn't know what to do because I'm not trained in that. So the idea is when we lose our footing or we forget who we are or we're not going in the right direction, it's the same kind of thing. We train ourselves with techniques that will bring us back to center, align us, and help us feel much better about our lives. So what we want to say is that it's very important that we really get that the cards, and I'm going to show you my favorite one anyway, The cards are really just, they're really just pieces of paper. Look how thin, promise. There used to be a Far Side that was like, picture of cows, right? And they were this thick, and it was like, it was in the field. You'd see these cows and they were this thick, and it said where minute steaks come from. It was like so funny. But when we look at a card, it really is, it's paper, right? And it has some words on it, and it has an image, and it has symbols that tell us information. And in this case, it's the sixth chakra. So it's very interesting because the sixth chakra, for me, it's the third eye. And I think one of the things we want to really talk, and I'm going to do a whole video on the third eye and indigo children, because I think that that's very valuable. I think what's missing a lot, and when we talk about a lot of the crime and bullying and things we don't understand, it's because people are not connecting with their own wisdom. They're looking for it outside. And I often say to people, it's like taking someone's pulse to see if you're okay, right? Take someone else's pulse to see if you're doing all right. So I just want to check in and see with you guys. Thank you, Angelic Michelle. Okay. Ooh. Yep. Terry, that's the point, is you stop running from yourself. What happens is you start to get very, very centered. Now, I'm holding up this one card. I don't know. Can you guys hear me? Are we still? I don't know if I'm still on. Looks like I'm still on. Okay, good. I guess everybody's so like, okay. So, deco. Okay, good. So one of the things I'm going to show you with this card, and if you have the Chakra Wisdom Tarot, this deck, one of the things I want to point out to all of you is that this card actually doesn't fit anywhere in the deck. And if you look at the image, the artwork doesn't fit. Now, you'll get this as you start to work with the deck more, and I'm going to talk about the chakra a little bit. But I think one of the things I want to say here is this card in the traditional tarot, it's the card of nostalgia. It's the two people meeting in the garden and seeing each other, right? So, yes, you're right, Nikki. So one of the things we're looking at here, if we look at this Six of Cups, right? Oh, Evie, I'm glad you said that, and I'm going to come back to you. If we look at the Six of Cups, and it's a card of nostalgia, and notice how they're hovering. So what happens is this woman really has a sense of how to change the memories of her past. Perhaps her nostalgia was not what she wanted, and perhaps she's finished with the agreements and healing. Sixth chakra, hidden family agreements. This card can indicate that. Now, you wouldn't get that in a regular, in another tarot deck, because you're not looking at the sixth chakra here, and that's the idea. Evie said something really quick. Actually, it's indigo. Isn't that funny? I'll show you purple in a minute, Michelle. Is it Michelle? Michelle. One of the things Evie just said is, I hate when I forget where I am. Well, here's the thing I want to tell you. In order to really work with your intuition, you have to be willing to know nothing. You have to be willing to forget everything, be completely lost, and not know where you are. The gift of the unknown is that we don't have an answer there that will actually process for us what this means, brain, right? So let's see. And Tisha said, can tarot readers put bad energy on you? I had a girl who wanted to do a reading on me, and after I noticed, I started having really bad luck. Sorry if I sound crazy. No, you don't. You know what happens is that you knew that this person wasn't going to be of any value to you. So what happens is we automatically have our intuition that says, I don't know, this doesn't feel right, but we do it anyway because we're there or we're embarrassed. Walk away. I love that you said that, Antisha, because I was at a festival and I was going through like hell and back, okay? And this is where I get like really pissed off at readers. Because you see, if it's not inspiring you, if it's not lifting you up to see a better way for you to process something in you, not me, but to open that door, what good is it? Who really wants to hear about being miserable, right? Like, I know when I'm miserable. Anyway, I'm at this fair, and I was like, oh, a card reader, because I love card readers, and I'm going to be honest with you, Antisha, there were a few of them, and I went, nope, nope, nope. And it's funny, a friend of mine recently, I'll go back to that story. A friend of mine bought me a card reading, and I had this reading with this guy, and I sat down and I was like, this is a waste of her money. And sure enough, he told me stuff that was like, like, it was so uninteresting to me. It wasn't moving my life forward. Check out what I just said. It wasn't progressing my energy to be better. What it was doing was just telling me about crap from my past that was like, well, you're looking for a deal for XYZ. And I'm like, that already happened, and it was kind of like, yes, okay, it's great that he's telling me this, but I wasted money. I didn't need the parlor trick. What I wanted was, and I'm going to show you tonight what a real reading looks like. Yes, I will. What was I answering about? Hold on, let's see. I think Antisha asked me, and I want to get back to her question. No, okay, bad luck. Blah, blah. First of all, I don't believe in bad luck. I think we make our luck. And I think that we're in an energy. I'm going to share something with you, Antisha, that I think is important. You had a reading that disappointed you, right? And so as a result, it drew energy of like, that was a waste of money and time. And what is that? What does that energy send out to the universe? More wasted money and time. So your luck kind of dissipates for a little while. Just remember, you are always in charge at any time. No one, it's like what Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can make a fool of you without your permission. And it's truth bombs. It's really important that when you're getting a reading, you want to get a reading from a person or an energy that you feel comfortable with. And there are people that don't feel comfortable with me. It's fine. There are people that go to my friends or what have you. I don't care. I think it's more important that you feel solid in you and you're looking at a reading as a validation or an inquiry of what's going on. So bear with me. So I was at this table. I walk up and sit down and I'm like, oh, reading, I pull out my money. I'm so excited. And this woman, she was right, but you know what? Can I tell you something? Honesty without kindness is cruelty. It really is. Who the hell wants to hear all your honesty? I remember when I was like 13, maybe I was 10, and my cousin at the time was 10 years, well, I was 10, she was 10 years older than me, so she was about 20, and she said, can I be brutally honest? And I was like 10, and I went, no, please don't, because I don't want to hear your brutal honesty. It's mean. This is why so many people get like, boom, no tolerance, because who wants to be around mean, right? So here's the thing. Kindness is not lying. It's a way to phrase it so that I can hear it or you can hear it. Why on earth would I want to phrase something that would scare you? Because if that happens, that's of no use to you. You would be like, ugh, I don't even want to deal with this, right? So the first thing this girl says is, well, you've just been through a breakup and you're not going to get over it for a long time. And for many years, you're going to be in so much pain. I said, stop. She was like, what? I go, stop. This is very harmful, what you're doing. And she was like, well, I'm telling you, I'm being honest, And I was like, no. You're destroying my emotional state. You are not talking from spirit. You are, and this is where, when people talk about devil and stuff, you're like talking from a place of trying to control and to show your superiority. You are not holding space for me for the highest good. I'm not feeling that from you. So does that make sense to you guys? Antisha, I hope I said that right, Antisha. That's what we're talking about. If someone's not for your highest good, run. And that's true in everything, right? I mean, it's like, it was awful. But you know what, though? I kind of walked away and I went, I don't care if she's right. And she was like, well, I have to charge you for my time. I looked at her and I was like, really? I said, because I'll charge you for my therapy from my little session. I didn't sit with her more than 5 minutes. And she was like, oh, okay, never mind. I go, that's right, never mind. Because you are just not not a reader, and you should not be doing this work because you're behaving like a therapist. And, you know, I was on the radio. Some of you have heard me tell a story, but I do radio shows, and sometimes people call in on some of these shows. This woman was crying hysterically. Oh, does he love me? And she was sincere, you know, she was like, does he love me? And I just said, oh, honey, I'm going to say something. Who cares? At the end of the day, you need a therapist, not a psychic. Because you see, what she was doing is she was shopping, right, for information that she wanted to hear. Let me put it this way to you. You know, when people get addicted to psychics, that's what that is. Because psychics will say, oh, of course he's going to call. And she's going to be like, oh, and then she'll sit there and wait by the phone. Well, 6 months will go by, and maybe he called and hung up once. And he called and hung up. I wonder if he's going to call back. Well, she'll hear that he's been engaged. And she's like mad at the psychic. Or, as a psychic, I'll say, you know, I don't see that. I don't see this relationship. Oh, and all of a sudden, it's 20 minutes out of her time that she's paid me for, arguing with me about why he loves her and why he's going to call. And I think what she wanted an addictive, it's like she wanted her fix. She wanted a shot. She wanted something that was going to let her know she was loved. And the thing is, you can never get love anywhere but inside. You just can't get it anywhere. You know, intimacy is into me see. It's not something I'm going to give you. It's something I am. And what I am, I'm going to attract. So she's going to attract, because she's coming from a place of lack, she's going to attract more lack. And what do you think that looks like? The minute she gets that relationship, she's going to be like, this isn't good enough. He's not spending enough time with me, or she's not spending enough time with it. And then it becomes another thing. So what I'm saying to you is that all of the cliches we can make up, guys, and you know them. You've got to love yourself first. You know, that sounds great, but how do you do it? How do you do it, right? I mean, everybody's heard that, like, well, we know we have to love ourselves first, and that's great lip service. But at the end of the day, I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know what that looked like. You know, I didn't know what any of it looked like until I started working with cards and having a place for my intuition to be validated. And then I discovered that being in the unknown was the only safe place that I ever experienced in my life. And being in the unknown with you was a place where we could experience that connection of a breakthrough. You know, so many people say to me, oh, you know, I want to do breakthrough readings. And I said, well, to do breakthrough readings with people, you have to be willing to not have their answer, to not have a button at the end of the reading. You have to be willing to allow them space to not know what's coming next. You have to not know at such a level that people are sitting with you and trusting that you have that energy. And you know what's funny? I sit there in the unknown. I don't sit there with an answer. I wait for the person to come up with the answer, because they always do. Because they come to me thinking that I'm going to give them an answer, when the truth is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow the safe space for that answer to occur. And I can't tell you how many breakthroughs I've seen happen. So I'm just going to look at some. Well, I think that, yes, Michelle, I think one of the things, you don't know how to love yourself, takes time. Yeah, that's fine. And I think I'm going to say something a little more bold, which is that people don't know they already love themselves. They come in going, I hate myself. I hate myself. I'm like, really? Because I don't know many people who hate themselves that have bought themselves a new car, or have just given themselves a really cool degree. Ah, shoot. Can you guys hear me? Let's see. All right. Kelly Tyree said, can I make things better in my life? So much has been going on, trying to figure out ways to make things better. I seem to carry, do you mean from somebody around me? You mean their problems? Okay, good. Thank you, Andisha. So Kelly, would you like me to pull a couple cards for you? May I, with your permission? Okay, let me, so she said yes. Kelly, is it okay if I pull a couple cards for you? I need your permission. I don't read people unless they say yes, you can. Okay, cool. So everybody, let's look at what Kelly's written here so that we can all be in this together and kind of get, so the first thing I'd like to do, I'll come back to this in a second. First thing I'd like to do is I'd like everybody to remember that we're going to bring some white light down from the heavens. And we're going to ask that God fill this energy between all of us with such high white light that we will be uplifted into the presence of the honor of Kelly asking us in this inquiry a very powerful question about her life. And we know that energetically, her question is going to be a solution for so many of us. And I want to honor Kelly, and I'm getting truth bumps, and say thank you for this moment to be able to pull some cards for you. Because as we open up this energy, I'm going to ask everybody to breathe and then just drop your shoulders. And I'd like you to step into the place of the unknown. And as we circle and protect ourselves, right? Because it's a white light protection. And the reason we do this, I don't worry about, people say, are you worried about, I don't worry about negative spirits because they don't come to me and I don't want them around. So, and I've worked with that for a long time. I just don't allow it. So Kelly, I want you to know that you're completely safe and I want you to drop your shoulders. And what she said, and let's look at what Kelly has written. Can I make things better in my life? Well, we know the answer is yes, right? So much has been going wrong, trying to figure out ways to make things better. I seem to carry the burden, I guess, from so many people around me. Okay. The first thing I want to say to you, Kelly, and you know this already, is that when we try to figure things out, what's happening is our brain is in high mode trying to protect us. And by the way, this is before I even pull cards, everybody. And why do I do that? It's because what comes forward to me at the beginning, it's a reading comes through me, not to me. It's not something that I am getting. It's something I get from the heavens, from the God energy. And this energy comes through me to offer a high light, if you will, a higher energy light, so that we can all honor Kelly in this moment. And I want you to know, Kelly, this has been with you for a long, long time. This isn't something that suddenly came up. It's something that you came in with, the idea of having to protect people. I'll show you what the cards are in just a moment. Okay. So that's been very true for you. And again, I know that everybody's saying, oh, well, you've got information about her now. So it's not, a real reading isn't a parlor trick. A real reading is to provoke thought that changes our perspective and allows us to find our own truth. Okay. So let's look at this. I'm trying to figure out ways to make things better. So I'm going to offer you a thought right away, which is that what if it's okay to have them not be better right now? What if trying to make things better is a function of our brain and not necessarily the wisdom of God and the spirits, right? What if the wisdom really comes through our intuition? So I'm going to invite you to bear with me, Kelly. And I want to say thank you to everyone. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this card, which is, I'm trying to show it so it doesn't, it's the Two of Coins. So one of the things also, and I'm going to show all the cards so you can see the colors. This is the, it's like, why do I take off my glasses? I'm the same while I'm reading, by the way, and I'm in an intuitive state. Okay, let's see. The Knight of Swords. Ooh. And then the Ace of Coins reversed. Okay. Second chakra, fifth chakra, first chakra. We're going to talk about that. Okay. So when we look at the Two of Coins, and I want you to notice, everyone, take a look at that picture. Just look at the image for a minute. Now, coins are technically pentacles, right? But I changed the name from pentacle to coin here because I wanted everybody to understand this is a material thing. And so this is about something consistently eluding you, like a path, a way to get somewhere. If we look, she's looking out the door to this beautiful, it's like a beautiful ship on a very calm ocean. But look what's behind the door. Look at that. Can you see that ship being tossed? Right? Can you see now, as you focus on this ship being tossed, can you begin to see it? I want you to notice that as we focus on it, we can look at the darkness behind the door. So one of the things I want to say for you, Kelly, is that this is a time, what I'm feeling from this card is it's a very emotional thing for you, because what you're doing energetically is really trying to force the happiness when the truth is that there's just some unsettled feelings that are not soothed yet. And at the same time that you're trying to look at things positively, it's almost like you're being reminded of the painful past that you have come from. And I want to say something else that's important. If we look at these two, the second chakra and the fifth chakra are actually kind of, if we look at the color wheel even, what opposes exposes. So this fifth chakra actually opposes the second chakra. Now, why am I talking chakra? The emotions of your life are going to guide the actions you take. So when we look at this, second chakra, emotions, it's very hard for you to maintain a positive front when what's going on behind it is I want to say there's an energetic fear that something will not get resolved in time. It's almost like you feel a sense of running out of time, and you're really looking for someone to come in and help you, and you're not getting the help in this moment. Does that make sense to you, Kelly? I like to check in with people I'm reading with because I want them to get, I want to get this as as an interactive thing and not just me. So let's see. Are you still with me, Kelly? It's so funny. Everybody's so silent. There's no chat. I'm like, where's the chat? Are you guys here? Okay. Okay. Oh, well, good. Okay. Very much so, battling chronic Lyme disease and taking on everyone else's problem. Okay. So here's the thing I want you to know is that the thing that is underneath everything, if we look at, okay, great. If we look at what's going on underneath, now Kelly obviously said she's battling Lyme disease. And so I want to say that Lyme disease, right, energetically, it's an attack of the immune system. And so it's a very emotional up and down ride. It's because, and I've been there. So it's something, hi, sweet pea. It's something that is not easily moved through. Okay. And what happens is that you want things to be smooth, but the truth is there's so many other things going on. Well, I'm going to share with you something that may seem a little surprising, but I want you to know that all of the people around you, all right, Owen, he's such a goofy, he does this every time someone's like in pain or there's a challenge in the reading. I want you to know that the people around you are actually in some way supporting you because it's you allowing the distraction from the real sadness and pain you're feeling. And it's easier to be confused and overwhelmed than to feel deeply sad and scared. And I want you to know that this card, the second card here, tells me that someone is looking to help you. You do have support. It's just that the support is coming for you and it's not taking away all the distractions. Does that make sense to you? Because one of the, okay, Owie, come here. He always cries. He's come over twice because he's like, I don't want her to be upset. He does this during readings. Okay. So one of the things I want to say, when we look at this Knight of Swords, he's holding the sword up and he's ready to come in. So what I want to say to you is that at this time, these other people are an emotional distraction, so you don't have to feel the fear of what you're going through. And I want you to breathe and bring down the light. And I want you to know that when you, Kelly, I need to say this to you. I want you to just drop your shoulders, and I want you to sink into your second chakra, which is your emotions, right? Love you, Duty Run. Thank you. I want you to sink into your, like, that second chakra, which is the emotions. And I want you to know that all of us on this call, people watching in the future, we are sending you so much incredible light and healing right now. And I'm sending you prayers and love. And I want everybody to send her healing prayer. And I'm getting truth bumps. It's okay to be scared, Kelly. And when you admit that you are scared, you will be able to let go of everybody else around you and allow people to come in and help you. I know it's like, oh, but I've got to do that. The only thing that is vital right now is you healing you. Everything else is, just because if we don't have you, Kelly, we don't have anything. Now, let's look at this final card, and it's a reversal. And people get all scared about reversals. And I want to say, Owen is sending you. I've got to tell you, he does this. He's curled around. I wish I could turn this around. He curls around a pillow when I'm doing readings and when there's a lot of energy, because he wants to send you love. And he's such a wonderful little puppy, but he's older. But okay, so this is Ace of Coins. I want to hold it up so you can see it. Two things I want you to notice about this card, everyone. The aces in tarot are gifts. All of the aces, whether it's the coin, a gift of material goods, whether it's the cups, which is eternal love, whether it is a sword, which is the ability to make a powerful decision, and whether it's the wand to start something new. The aces tell you you've got everything you need to get this energy out there. So what I want to say to you is it's a reversal. Now, a lot of people go, oh, reversed. I don't look at it that way. All right. Reversals are actually, they're like a retrograde planet. It's something that needs work. And guess what? That first chakra is you. I want to say that. This first chakra is all about you. It is all because it's a sun sign. Check this out. This is the moon sign. And this is, I turned these upside down, but this is going to be Mars. So if we look at moon, Mars, and you, so the moon is your emotions, and Mars is telling me you're taking your energy away from what you need to be putting it on, which is, guess what? You, which is what the reversal tells us. And finally here, this is such a great card. In this deck, for those of you that have it, I want you to check out that a reversed card, when I say reversed, when her back is to us, and there are a few cards in this deck that as we go forward, there's a few cards that have their back to you. Well, this means she is celebrating her life and her connection with the Creator. So in this particular case, she's very connected to, if you will, God and the material needs that are going on. Now, I'm going to say this to you, Kelly. This is really, I hope that I've given you a message that gives you an open door to really get that the other stuff around you, all of the clouds and drama and all that, drama occurs in our life when we forget who we are. And this is about you remembering who you are. You really are someone that is a stand for others. But remember, it really is that cliche, everybody. You cannot put on put on someone else's mask before you put on your own. You have to be alive and safe in order to help others. And somehow we are backwards in thinking, oh, I've got to give to other people. No, you must give from your excess, not your reserve. And you can, this is why, if you even think, and Duty Ron can speak to this, if you look at even police officers, they call for backup. They don't go, I'm going to go in this burning building myself and get all of these 5 perps who are shooting at me out of there. No. That's what we do every day when we get involved in drama. So what I want to say to you is come back to you And I want you to really get, and the energy I'm feeling for you is you've got this. You got this. Kelly, do you know that you've got this? Do you know that you have everything you need? And I'm going to share this with you. You know, at 50 years old, and I wasn't a big fan of Louise Hay. She and I didn't like each other. It's very funny, but I admire her a lot. It was at 50 years old, she wrote You Can Heal Your Life, and she healed herself from cancer. And it was one of the most amazing things anybody could ask for. So when I say this to you, you have everything you need. And yet the real truth is that sometimes we do that spiritual bypass and we avoid the sadness. We avoid the sadness because we don't want to feel it. So it's easier to be in upset. So if we look at the idea of anger and sadness kind of mirroring each other, it's okay to be sad. You know, it's okay. And I can feel some of that sadness as we sit in it with you. We know that right now, Kelly, you are not going in that building alone. You've got a lot of backup. You have how many people on this call? 44 right now? I don't know. And it's a small call tonight. I didn't want to make it I wanted to make it about, actually, Kelly, it's probably about you tonight. And it's about you as a reminder for all of us to focus on what we need to do to make ourselves healthy so that we can bring that message to others. Because if you don't have you, then we don't have you, and we lose. So that's the message I'm feeling for you. Hey, Duty Ron, glad you're here. So glad you're here. And by the way, thank you for the super chat. And I just want to love and respect from New York City. Tori, I hope so many people love you lots. I love you too, Duty Ron. You're just an awesome human. Okay. Let's see, who said that? Forgive me, because I'm going to have trouble with your name. Blagovista. Blagovista? Okay, Blagovista. Let's see. Okay. Sadness and anger intertwine. Yes, they do, Rasana. And here's the thing, and I think this is going to be, I'm going to pull one card for you because I'm going to tell you right now, I think you kind of heard the message, but, all right. It's interesting. I pulled out two cards, and normally I just use one, but I'm going to show you these two cards. This is the World. The World actually is the final card in the deck. And what it actually tells me about what's going on for you energetically. And by the way, I want to make sure that I have permission to read you. I'm going to assume that I do because you asked me. So if people ask me, generally it is permission, but I want to make sure. When I look at the World, it tells me you already know the answer. You already know the divinity that you need to step into for yourself. Part of this is, look at this again. The topic tonight really becomes very clear. And I want everybody, if you would, can we all just send healing light, love, and prayers of healing to Kelly, like in such massive doses. And I'm going to request that tonight when you go to sleep, or if it's morning, when you're off this call, just really say a prayer and say, I want to send this amazing healing light to Kelly so that she feels it. And now about you, Rasana. Let's look at this, because this is the Moon. You know, and so many people get afraid of the tarot, and this is actually a major arcana card. In the Chakra Wisdom Tarot, I don't want to go into too much detail because that's more of a class, but it is in the third decan. And what I mean by that in English is this is a mastery card. In fact, Rasana, most of these two cards are both in the mastery section. And let me tell you something about mastery. Mastery means you get bigger issues because, you see, we know how to handle them when we're in mastery. It's kind of like, and forgive me I'm using law enforcement stuff tonight because I guess Duty Ron's here, but it's kind of like, you know, one of the things you learn in mastery is you don't go in alone. You make sure you have your backup. You have the tools. You have the training. You don't just walk into a building because you think there's a perp in there. That's just not the way life rolls. And in mastery, the problems are big, but the tools are bigger. So I'm getting truth bombs. When I say this to you, one of the things I want to say, the Moon is like the dark night of the soul. And if we look at this card very closely energetically, I want you to notice that this is the Fool, by the way. She's in every card in the Fool's Journey. And it's the only deck that does that. It's the only deck where we watch her journey from here to, obviously, to the world, right? To the ascension. Now, and by the way, in some ways, I want to share this with all of you, and it almost is the journey from birth, right? Because we look at that first card, it's almost the Immaculate Conception. And then we look at the Ascension card. So it goes from birth all through the journey, from facing people who are challenging, the dark night of the soul, all of the things we have to face in our life that make us stronger, and they sometimes suck. But anyway, we're looking at the yin and the yang, which we know that the North Pole cannot survive without the South Pole. It just doesn't work that way. You can't just go, okay, I'll have a South Pole, please. Like, what? You have to have the North in order to balance it. So we're looking at the two wolves. And notice, if you will, that she is very much at peace. This is the dark night of the soul. It is going within and finding the truth of your answers. Notice also that the moon is not only reflecting half darkness, it's reflecting half light. So it's very interesting how we can see on this side the moon is dark, and here is our wolf on this side, and here's the darkness. So you're looking at the balance on either side of what's going on for you. So when I say this to you in English, it's going to be a very challenging time, because you must face your own, if you will, shadow side. You have to face the things that have been challenging for you, because the thing is there are people that need to see you, I want to say, walk through this. I don't believe we ever overcome. I think things become integrated into our life. I think we become integrated, and that's what we're looking at here. So when we look at the moon here and we look at the world, I want to say this is a powerful integration time for you. I hope that helps you, and I hope that made sense to you. Okay. I know my little O, he's over here somewhere. All right. Oh, Deco, there you are. Hi. Let's see. Deco Painter and Tea. I finally figured that out. Decoupage? I don't know. Okay. Yes, thank you, Duty Ron. We're all here for you, Kelly. Just know that. And that's the idea, is that, you see, when tarot is used in the form of our energy and connected with the God source, what begins to happen is that we have a tool to step into that higher consciousness. You know, it's really funny. It's like, you know, I joke a lot about this, and I know I've talked to maybe some friends about it, some people I know, but the idea of like people who are so spiritual, and meanwhile they're out there going, F this guy, and and I hate this person, I hate that person. But you know, we've all got to have peace and love. Like, who are you? You know, it's like, the thing I want to say is that this is what's going on in the world, but it doesn't have to be your story. So Kelly, will you do me a favor and please stay like in touch, stay close with us, and let us know how you're doing. And I just want to say, if you think of it, guys, would you like the video, and would you share the video? It does help, because a lot of people won't watch a video that says tarot, and I think this is a lot more than that. So let me see if anybody has any questions. Let's see, what did Terry say? Okay, I don't know what that is. Let's see. Oh, I missed some stuff. Okay, let's see. I'm so sorry about your brother-in-law, Patty. I know I read your post on another thing. Definitely go within. Yeah. Terry, I think you mean more sunshine. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. And Tisha says, thank you, Katie. Let's see. Antisha says, will you pull a card for me? Absolutely. I'll pull one for Antisha first. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm just going to give it a general overview, if we could. because I think one of the things that happens is that you start to see a theme that's coming forward. And I think when we see that, we can put together the pieces much stronger. Okay, so let's take a look. I love this card. This is the Four of Wands. Now remember, the wands are the wands are about career, moving forward, but also the wand here. I want you to notice here, off in the distance, she's wearing green. That's the fourth chakra. That's the heart. And I'm going to talk about that because the heart is the gateway. It's the gateway to what we really desire. And Tisha, what I want to say to you is that you've looked at what you really desire for a long time, but you've actually been doing things that are not necessarily actions that take you toward your true dreams. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, but here's the idea here. Where's the dang book? Okay, I'm gonna do something that I haven't done, which is I'm gonna pull out the guidebook because I want you to see the guidebook. Fourth chakra is a very powerful chakra because it is actually like the seesaw in our life, if you think about it. And I'm just looking for, here it is. Okay, so this is what the page looks like. You've got the different cards. And then I'm going to, what is up with this? I have the weakest, I know, I'm like a joke here with all these glasses, right? But I got to get strong glasses, you guys. I can't see a thing. You know what? Like somebody needs to fund me going to a freaking, a real eye doctor because I can't see. Okay, so I'm going to read like this. All of these are weak glasses. My strong ones are over there on the table. Okay, let's see. Four of Wands. And this is interesting. I'm going to hold this up. Wait, okay, this is what happens, you guys. The cards disappear. No, it's right here. Okay, here's the card. Let's talk about it. It says, in that moment before she will accept the keys to her queendom, she ponders her accomplishments. While her journey ahead will have more challenges, it will be everything she has dreamed. It's a new life. The chakra message. Wands in the fourth chakra indicate a coming home, a coming bloom. It's a bloom. The excitement is related to something good. And while you are ready, preparing your heart to be open to joy is necessary. So what I want to say to you is that how can you frame things? When people say to me, and especially young people, come over here, Owen, come here then, come on, come here. Especially young people, and they say, oh, the world's falling apart, it's awful. I'm like, what if it's falling together? What if everything that seems like it's just falling apart, it has to be that way. I mean, we've always had hard times in cycles. We've always seen, awful things happen. And yet we either believe in our energetic evolution or we believe in doom. And I think that, what I want to say to you is that how can you frame this as maybe everything that seems like it's bad could be the best thing ever? Well, then I'm going to lift you up. I'm going to lift you up. He's sitting here. Come here, boo-boo. Come over here. Come here. I'm going to have to lift him up. Come here. He gets a little fussy with me. Hold on 1 second. Okay, come here, Rose. I got to move this out. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. Come here, Rose. Come on, you big thing. Come on. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, boy. Oh. And then he'll walk around and jump down, but he was just wanting to be here because he felt the energy. Okay, he's walking around to jump down. Now, I let you up here. Oh, my goodness. He is so funny. Okay, sit down. Sorry. Dog interference. Hold on. Thank you, Joni. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Yes, the emerald green and the butterflies. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so let's see. Joni just said reversals are confusing to me. I know they aren't always the opposite of the upright meaning, but I don't have a good feel for the meaning. I usually have to look it up. Okay, here's what I want to say to you. If you think of a reversal as, I'm just going to show you Owen right now so you can all see him. There's Owen. Hi, babe. What? You want to sit here with us because you were crying. You were crying. All right. So there we go. I guarantee the calls I'm getting tonight, just so you know, are like someone is using my Social Security in Texas. That's that scam call thing going on. Okay. So Joni just said reversals are confusing. Okay, so let's talk about reversed cards. First of all, when you do a card reading, do not read the reversed card first. And I'll tell you why. A lot of times what I'll do, Joni, is I'll just read the spread as it's written, like the cards together, right? And so one of the things that we want to look at is that when we look at the cards as a story, then we see the story. Now, here's why I say wait on the reversal, because reversal is almost like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? And you can miss the other cards around it, and you can actually miss what is really being told to you because the focus goes on the reversal, right? It's like it takes it away. So that said, let's talk about the reversal, because in this case, when I read Kelly's cards, we were looking at the reversal of the Ace of Pentacle or coin in my deck. Now, reversed there is, the question does come up, if it's joy and the gift from the Creator, the question is, how can I open myself to that joy? And how can I open myself to that gift? You know, okay, everybody has to come up. Now Gavin's coming up. So that's the idea behind a reversal, is that it asks the question, whereas an ace right side up would say to you, well, here's the gift of prosperity, of property, of a tangible thing. It could be a new house, a new car, what have you. And if it's reversed, either how can I create it or how can I enjoy it? You know, sometimes we have a new house and it's like, oh, I was going through that where I really didn't like my house. And it wasn't that I didn't like the house, I didn't like the kitchen. So I just redid the kitchen. But you see, these are things, sometimes it sounds so easy when I say it here, but the truth is that we don't always, I have to move this off here so I can, sorry guys. It's my new nail thing. I think I told some of you about it. But anyway, does that answer your question, Joni? I hope it does. And I want to get back. Come over here then, Gavin. Let's see. Things do work together for the good. Stepping stones. Okay, yeah. I know. Can give me advice on my issues with intimacy. I feel like I'll never be in a relationship. Got it. Okay, let's see. Feng Shui is great too. I want to give that, but you know, it's like I used to have a Sifu. Sifu is Chinese for master, who read, seriously, like he would read the compass, and he didn't even need a compass. He'd walk in and go, you know, like that. And he'd go, okay, you need this house, good for money, bad for people. Or no, good for people, bad for money. And I'm like, what is it? That's not very good. Good for people. He said, no, if people are happy, money will come. And I was like, oh, better to have a house good for people than a house good for money. And of course you want Wan Shang, Wan Shui, which means good for people, good for money, right? It's the best. Okay. So yes, I did study Feng Shui. Need to know about merchant card. What does that mean, merchant? Patty, can you clarify? Oh, Terry, that's an interesting. The green card looked like joy to her. That's great, because it is a sense of joy. It's a sense of she's really wanting something to happen. And of course, there are the butterflies, as you said, somebody else said. And when we look at the wands, we know that the energy is working in her favor because she's not having to hold them up. They're standing on their own, which means and remember, the crystals, only the wands, each, I'm going to just see if I can find it. So for example, all of the fours are, oh, thanks, Gavin. I appreciate it. All of the fours, I'm just trying to find the wand card here. Really? Okay, whatever. I'll find another one. Oh, here it is. Okay. So here's a wand as well. The Queen of, I want to say it's the Queen of Wands. Yeah, here we go. The Queen of Wands. Now, the Queen is always the sixth chakra, which is about family dynamics, and it's about honoring the family. So that's a very powerful card. Now, you can see how her wand has the indigo in it, and this wand has the heart chakra. So that's the heart, and then the other one is the sixth chakra. So when we add chakra ideas, right? When we add the chakra to it, what happens is we can pinpoint exactly where things are in our life. Now, for you, Antisha, this would be about a matter of the heart. Now, when it's with a woman particularly, not trying to leave the guys out, but when it's with a woman, one of the things we want to look at here is making sure your heart's into it. You have to, you can manifest anything, but you can't maintain it unless your heart is involved. And so this is really about going into your heart and deciding. Okay, and here's the thing. I want to say, let's take this changes if we can. If with your permission, Antisha, I'd like to say that you just haven't been focusing on it. All right, because it's not that you should or shouldn't be working on it. It's that you haven't been focusing on it. One of the things I would say to you if we're in a session, and I'll say this now, which is, so what you want to do energetically is just really get that you're building the bridge between here and the dream. And that just means taking a slight action each day, no matter what it is. And an action can be a prayer. You know, one of the things people often forget is sometimes, especially when we're working as I'm working in this modality, sometimes it's just like the best thing I can do to support someone is just send them prayer, because they have everything they need. Antisha certainly knows what to do. You've got it. But what we want to do for you is relanguage it. So it's not that you should be doing something. It's like, do you really want that as an outcome? And that's the real question. See, because if you really want it as an outcome and you're, quote, procrastinating, because we care. Procrastination really means we care too much, right? Because if it doesn't happen, we'd be disappointed. So the thing is that, and I'm going to share with you I'm going to call it Papa wisdom, because my father used to have this wisdom. He'd say, let me tell you something. Why don't you just get to the top of that hill and decide if you want to be successful or not once you're there? I'm like, oh, okay. You see, because if you're successful in something, then you can decide if you want it or not. And I was like, oh, all right, I'll do that. So I did that. Let's see. At senior housing, okay. 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 Yeah, me too. Oh, Angelic Michelle said, I'm getting ready to retire, and there's so much fear. Of course there's fear. See, and you know, it's funny. I just talked about this. You know, anytime there's a completion, you know, even if there's something good you're going to, it's sad to give up the past. It's sad. You know, like when I left, I really liked I'm just going to show you guys this. Normally I wouldn't, but look at this. Look at that. Oops. I don't know if you can see this little thing wrapped around me. It's so crazy. I got a little head over here. Of course you're fearful. You know, when I bought this house and I was moving from South Asheville up here, I was renting an apartment. I was so sad to leave that apartment because it was what I knew and I liked it. And you know what? Fear is really about being in the future, and being in the present is, I'm feeling fear. So when I say that to you, it's okay to acknowledge, you know what? Good for you for feeling fear and knowing that's what it is. But you know, I want to share something with you that a lot of people don't recognize. Fear and excitement are so close together that sometimes, I'm going to draw a little thing that I was teaching in one of my classes. Here we go. Okay, so here's how it works. So in our lives, and forgive the lines, I'm just using this paper. I usually use, okay. So in our lives, when we look at fear and excitement, so I want you to imagine that, okay, that fear, right, looks like it's really an ugly drawing, but it's basically a tank. You know, can you imagine a big water tank, right? And it's got a lid on it, and that's fear, right? And so what's happening is it's starting to open up, and I'm not very good at this, but as it's starting to open up, what's happening is the energy of fear is coming out. But what you don't see is you're looking at it from this perspective. What if we move just a few more inches to this perspective? What we'll see is another tank directly behind it. Now, again, I'm not an artist, but when you move and you see that tank right behind it, that's joy and excitement. And you see, you don't recognize all the time that when one tank opens, the other naturally opens. So the fear comes out at the same pace as the joy. So what I want to say to you is that I want to offer you a thought, which is what if it's excitement? That means that when it all comes out, the fear is like a fog. It'll go away, but you'll be left with the excitement. So there you go. So that's an energetic way to look at fear that we feel sometimes when there's really excitement. Yeah, of course, Debbie, that's false evidence appearing real, fear, F everything and run. That's also fear. There's just a lot of acronyms, and that's a good one from AA, false evidence appearing real. And I love that one. But I think that what we want to say, exactly humanimal, it is a reframe. I think the thing is that, Evie, I know. I miss my dad too. Let's see. One thing I want to say also is that we want to really own the fact that, and Terry, I want to say this for Antisha, she doesn't have to be careful about anything. She's got this. And I think that sometimes we want to be, we want to step back and honor that, she's got it. She's got it going on. We don't need to give her advice. I think she's right on with it. Angelic Michelle, I'm so glad that made sense to you. I'm missing Stephanie wrote this symbol, and I just don't know what that symbol means. I have to go look it up, I guess. Let me see. Thanks, Patty. I appreciate that. Can you go back and see my messages? What messages? Okay, let me look. Kelly. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. My mom's name was Joan. My name was green. My favorite color is green. My favorite thing was butterflies. See, yeah, Kelly. But see what's happening. All those signs, those symbols. Those are like God's way of remaining anonymous. So when you start to see synchronicity, it's telling you that there are messages coming from your mom, from spirit. So it's really fabulous stuff. And forgive me, everybody. I don't mean to be rude if I'm like, oh yeah, I know that, but whatever. So let's see, the abdominal chakra, the 6th, I think. No, the 6th is right here. By my guider. She said it was totally closed off. Oh, okay. Katie's mentioning about the 6th chakra. That's also known as the third eye. And especially for high intuitives, one of the things that can happen in the 6th chakra is, and this happened to me early on, is that it was opened. And it was like opened, and I was terrified of flying, like terrified. And I went to doctors, nothing worked. And finally I went to a psychic, and she said that the third eye is the window to not only past lives in a way, which I don't really get into that much in this work, but it's the window into things that perhaps you don't need to see in this lifetime. So we energetically closed that portion of it so that I could function. So sometimes there are, and I want to talk about third eye and all that, but one of the things you want to get is that sometimes we don't need to have all that information. We don't need people are like, I want to know. It's like, well, you know what you need to know. And the first thing is the techniques and the tools on how to work with this energy. Because, let's face it, anything can be problematic if it's not honored and used properly. So, by the way, if you're here and you think about it, if you give a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it, you guys. Let's see. I'm outside pruning. Stephanie, you're so funny. Does Tori have an email address? And you can email. Yeah, my email is going to be support@torihartman.com. And I just started doing these. My friend Karen talked me into it. An MLM. I suddenly feel like, oh my gosh, here I am. Like, but it's kind of more like people can order the nail things on my website, which is Color Street, COLORStreet.com/such cute nails. And these are actually real. And by the way, that's my email is suchcutenails@yahoo.com through that. So anyway, the point is that these are, they're non-toxic and they're real nail polish in a sense. I put them on the airplane, and you can literally peel them, stick them, and they kind of cure overnight. They're really cool. Okay, Cheryl, what's going on? Let's see. Can I touch base on us like you? And those of us like you who have lost all our loved ones, and how we can tap into their messages. Aw, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, lost your entire family. Thank you, Debbie. Let's see. Hi, Karen. Oh, yeah, you know what? They do have super wide. Check it out, though. You'll look and see. This was actually for the for the middle finger. The thumb is wider. Yeah, just jump on the site and look. It's colorstreet.com/suchcutenails, because it's my own little site thing. All right, let's take a look here. So let's talk about losing loved ones. I don't really want to, because that's a whole, and by the way, if you have not seen my video, When a Loved One Dies, I really encourage you to look at that. I really do. It's probably one of my, I feel it's one of the better videos, and I love that video. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check that out. Hi, Ruthie. Anybody here new tonight? Anybody like this is all new to you and you're like, what? Nikki's the best. Yeah, Nikki, you're a very good reader. Don't undersell yourself. You and one of the things that happens with this deck that we're talking about with the Chakra Wisdom Tarot is that there's also astrology in it. So if you know astrology, it's kind of cool too. Yes, Debbie, jump on. I'm just going to write this down. I'm going to put the, I always forget, colorstreet.com/ that. Oh no, it's not .com. I messed that up. It's actually, hold on, let me do it right. I wish I could remove, I think I can remove it. But if you remove it, you'll block me. I don't want to block myself. There you go. It's colorstreet.com, such cute nails. Okay. So Black Rose 11, you rock. I just want to say that you made some great comments the other night in the other live, and it was really spot on stuff. Destiny kind of knew out of practice. You know what I want to say too is that the thing about cards that I think are fun is that, so many people, let me back up. One of the things about when I teach cards and when I work with cards and the way I like to teach is I can't teach to your brain. I have to teach your intuition, because you're never going to actually learn cards with your brain. You'll only learn them intuitively. You can get some key words with your brain, you can get some ideas, but to really go deep and tap into and support other people, I think that there is training around diving under the wave, learning what neutral observer is, so many tools that are very important. And most of the tools, I don't have the book in front of me, but it's my book called How to Read the Cards for Yourself and Others. And in the beginning of that book, and by the way, that whole book is the master training that it's the blueprint for the master training that I teach when I'm teaching the oracle cards. So I've just started here with the tarot. It's more new, and I'm putting up a site, and I'll let you guys know when it's up as well. So let's see. Patty, you're the best. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about your immediate family. You know, for a long time, I used to resent not having a family, and I chased friends away because I was always like shopping for a better life. You know what I mean? Like life shopping, like thinking, oh, they've got a better life, or oh, they've got a better situation. And so I spent a long time in search of finding that family connection that I had either never had in some ways, or I want to say never had, but that I actually lost. My mother died of the disease of alcoholism when I was 15. And believe me, when people go, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm like, no, I'm not. I mean, it took me longer to get over my mother and the issues there than it did with my father, because my father and I were very close. So, I think that the idea that love never dies is really important. It changes form. And one of the things I want to say to all of you that have lost a parent or a family member that you love, I've been there. And I can't stand when people go, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, no, please don't feel sorry for me. Have you lost somebody? Okay, then we can talk about it. Because the thing is that, it's a very, very sad experience. However, and it's funny, I wrote this down earlier. Holy smoke. And this goes back to what I talked about early on. And I think that this is what opened up some of the idea of Shanann and the Watts case, was that we can either shrivel up into a depression because they died, or we can really soar and grab onto that brass ring because they lived. I want you all to remember something. You are their legacy. Think about that. All of you are someone's legacy. Someone fought tooth and nail so that you could be here. So remember that. Don't ever forget that one of the gifts of having lost people we loved, okay, is that we know that legacy that they left us. You see, you can't leave a legacy until you recognize the one you've been left. And so sometimes having that level of loss gives us that opportunity to say thank you. And we also then have the idea of an entire stadium cheering us on and saying, get on the field, play the game, get on there. And I spent a lot of time sitting in the stands going, but I don't have a family. And then one day I realized I had a family. It wasn't the family I thought I should have or the family I wanted. But you know what? I had an amazing father. And in some ways I had an amazing mother. I was angry at her, and I didn't like the fact that she drank herself to death. And I resented that she was not a role model for me. And I resented that I didn't have that connection. And I felt jealous of people that had those big Christmas trees and big families. And, I watch Hallmark and I'm like, ooh, But the thing is that at any time, if I really want that, I will create it. And that's something I had to really look at. Because the truth is, and I want to go back to, we think sometimes we want a relationship, but the truth is that we want to resolve pain. And that's never a way to step into a loving partnership of any kind. So the truth is that the idea that I'm having this juicy, fabulous life, and I'm getting to connect with people all over the world. I got to go to VidCon, and I met some really cool creators, and I get to meet you guys. That opens up the possibility for me to share that with other people. And, one thing I want to say about love is that love does never die. It just changes form. And so if you experience love in everything around you, all right, Owen, I know. He gets really sad when I read. Give me a minute, okay, boo? If the love I have for my dog and the love I have for my neighbors or people that I may agree or not with, eventually, if I experience love at that level, I will eventually experience love in the form that I seek. Because you see, love is love, right? And we've heard that said, about the LGBTQ movement, love is love. Well, it makes sense for all of us, love is love. So if we really love and honor one another, and we love and honor the legacy we've been left, then those people will never die as long as we do something special with our lives. Because all you have is the currency of your life. They left you a big treasure chest. Will you open it? Or will you sit on it and say, I've lost? That said, I would really like to, let's see what Michelle said. Let's see, my mom told me right before she died, she would come to me in white butterflies. Aw. And you know what my mother said to always look for? She said, always look for my birthday, 207. Always a sign for me. Isn't that funny? So I like birthdays and numbers. That was my thing. So I will say to all of you, God bless. Much love, everyone. Let's see, Tori, I have the Doreen Virtue. How do yours differ before I purchase? Thank you. I am familiar with Doreen, and you know what? You bring up a very good point. And then I'm going to wrap up. Doreen Virtue was the first person on the scene in the 1980s who let us all know that cards were not bad. She created angel cards. She created, some tarot decks. She created a lot of decks, and she became a deck person. And one of the things that I think was very pure in her, because she has now turned to Christ, she's walked away from a lot of the, as she called, this new agey thing, but yet not really, because she's still doing seminars. So it's kind of a thing, and it's a thing in the tarot world that people are like, what? But I'll tell you what I appreciate about Doreen Virtue is that she was doing this at a time when no one would do it. And she was really a stand for people finding their own spirituality. And ultimately, I think the goal of all of this is to reconnect ourselves with God of our understanding. And so I loved her angel cards. I think they're fantastic. I don't use them. They don't vibe with me, okay? But that doesn't mean they're not good, because a deck has to vibe with you. Now, my oracle cards, the Chakra Wisdom Oracle, that's more like angel cards, because oracle like angel cards they're oracles because they're not tarot necessarily. A tarot is a set that goes a certain way. So I'm very familiar with Doreen Virtue. She helped a lot of people, and she has opened the door to people being unafraid to use cards. And so I hope that makes sense. And so they are similar in many ways. Why no voice? What does that mean? Christoph, what does that mean? Why no voice? Thank you so much for it. Not understanding what you mean. I'm watching your videos for about a week. My grandma was intuitive. My mom, okay, grandma called it the Irish thing. My father sends love when he's in a challenge. That's funny. Oh, how funny. That's wonderful. So yeah, get the Oracle. Katie just said, get the Chakra Wisdom Oracle. I know, thank you, Black Rose. If you go on to Amazon, you just type in my name, you'll see the decks come up. You'll see the Chakra Wisdom Oracle, and the Oracle cards have the original fables, which is in this book, and this is the one I'm going through each week free. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. I know. Okay. So I think we really can just, okay. I can just remove this person. Okay. Yay. Okay. So thank you, Cheryl. been getting focusing on giving back these last few years and providing activity. Yes, yes, yes. Lovely night, everyone. Thank you for this, just the honor to be able to work with this. My goal is, I think I'm going to do, one day a week about intuitive things and stuff like that. And then I really want to talk about bigger things that have impacted us. And it could be crime through the ages. It could be different things. I'm open to ideas. And I hope to hear from you. And of course, if you do your nails, I want to see pictures. I'm going to have new nails on my next video. All right, everyone, much love. Please like, share the video, do your thing. Thank you for joining me tonight. I love you all more than you'll know, and I am here for you. So much love. Bye for now.